All right, welcome everybody. I'm Ed Cruz. This is the last lesson, and this episode is episode 69. And I think I have it labeled here as things change. So I guess there's a way to look at this, and as I talk about Wing Chun and how things go about, things change, and change. I think in a healthy lifespan. Change is a good thing. Change, I think, I would like to say it's inevitable, but at some point there's a balance and fight between two things. Like you go through a series of things from life, from school, marriage, kids, and all that stuff like that. And there's periods where you're like, these are good periods, these are bad periods, and so forth like that. And it's no different from your training. You get periods in your training when, like, you could say, like, in the early stages, where there's like an excitement and absorption of tons of knowledge, and then for a long period of time, you're like on a highway to nowhere, where it seems like you're on the same level all in all. Okay, so my I guess my lesson today is that if you look at things from my own perspective. You look at things kind of like in a 10-year period, right? 0 to 10, 10 to 20, and so forth like that. And I think not all lifestyles fit this, but I think in general that change is inevitable. It's a good thing. Like, for example, the times that you spent with your friends in high school, you were probably like as close as possible. You would always be with each other every day, hanging out and stuff like that. But later on, right? Like, looking back, like almost like 30 years from now, 30 years ago, my closest friends, sadly, maybe once or twice I chat with them, a quick chat on the phone and stuff like that. But for the most part, things are different. Your priorities were there with your friends. Now your priorities with your family and your wife and stuff like that. So things eventually do change. And I think that's good, because I think inevitably when you end up staying stagnant, right? You fear things being different. Like when you get older, people make a very common comment where it's like, I'm an old guy, can't teach a new dog old tricks. And I've always said that that's just a cop out. That's the fear of the unknown. That's a fear of changing. You get used to a certain pattern of doing stuff like that. And from my experience of even dealing with other people, that's always the case. I think you want to see, and sometimes you need to force yourself to do that. Like I said, if you don't make the changes, or you don't create the balance in yourself in life in general, life will create that balance for you. So, and then, as I always talk about having that perfect balance, it's one way or another, and you can either do it where you already are prepared for it and can naturally react, or you have to react and do a catch-up to whatever occurs in that particular situation. I think, looking back, your teachers has a lot of wisdom, and they give you things and knowledge, and I think the saddest lesson, this is true, this is the saddest lesson I think Sifu's ever told me. And he's like, it really did bring in at the time when you kind of just nudge certain things as far as its value and so forth. But he told me one thing, at one point, and who knows, at a certain point in your life, you just don't feel like you want to jump. and I didn't realize, I just didn't realize what that meant at the time, or how significant that was. Because you get to different stages in your life. When you're young, I was crazy. You want to jump off the roof? I'm going to jump off the roof. I could jump 10, 12 feet off the roof, jump down the flight of stairs. And I'm not saying not to be active. It's good to be active. I'm very active in my daily life. But he did have a point where it's like, it's not the same. It's like, okay, I got to reach for something up in the shelf, and I could jump for it. But instead, I end up getting a stool and then climbing up the stool itself. So, where am I going with all this? It's kind of like a random rant, but I just want to point out, like, aspects in life and in Wing Chun in general. Like, when the unknown, you get in a pattern of doing things over and over again, but at some point, it has to end. All good comes to an end, all bad, hopefully. In essence, things are temporary overall, but for the most part, you want to have that consistent change. Change is necessary for the growth to occur. If you feel that stagnation occurring in what you're doing, you might have to mix it up a bit. And it's a good thing. And it's good to feel uncomfortable. It's good to have the unknown. It's good to push yourself. And from there, that's how growth comes about. So in essence, take a little look back in your life and see where you are right now. See if you're stagnant and you're getting comfortable, because yeah, it's good to be comfortable. And it's nice that things are maybe it's going your way right now, but in the end, you want to take things always beyond what you can do. Okay.